Welcome friends, from now onward we are starting CSS Basics. Let's quickly create the folder 02 CSS Basics. Inside the CSS Basic, let's create a file 01 underscore intro.html using exclamation tab website bootcamp CSS introduction, and here as well h1 CSS introduction. Okay, and save it. Now let's quickly go through some of the important concepts related to CSS. CSS introduction. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets. It describes how the web page should be displayed, mostly look and feel. It also describes how the HTML elements should be rendered on screen, on paper, in screen reader or another media. Simply saying, CSS adds styling to the web page. There are three types or ways to add CSS in web page. That is inline CSS, internal CSS and external CSS. Let's see the syntax. Here is an example of the simple CSS rule. The div is actually a selector of type element. There is a declaration start and end. There is a CSS property, here it is height, and property value, here it is 100 pixel. And there are two important separators. One separate the property to its value and another separate different property value pair. Inline CSS. The inline CSS is used to add a unique style for a single element. For example, here you can see h1 with style, color blue and text align as center, where paragraph tag has style color equal to red, and the output you can see on the right side. Internal CSS. The internal CSS include CSS rules for the single web page and has its effect within that page only. It is defined in the head section under style element. In the example here you can see head, then style, then h1 and color equal to blue, text line center and paragraph tag has color equal to red. And in the body we have h1 then two paragraph. And if you see the output, both the paragraph color is red. If we use inline CSS approach here, then for both the paragraph we need to give the style separately. External CSS. The external CSS rules are defined in separate file with extension .css. Each HTML page must include a reference to the external style sheet file using the link element, and it should be inside the head section. Following line include the style.css style sheet file in the web page. Link href equal to style.css, relation rel equals to style sheet, and then type equals to text/css. The content of style.css will contain the CSS rules for the elements, and it looks like as seen in the right side. CSS comment. A comment is used to explain the code which might be useful for self or for others. They are not displayed in the browser. Example, you can see in the example the way to add comment is by adding /* and then comment text and ending by */. So this is a single line comment, and on the right side we have multi-line comments. For the demo purpose, let's create a div. Inside it, let's create a h1 and says section header. Inside it, let's create a paragraph with text. This is a section content, and now save it and see the preview by clicking on go live. Here you can see we have CSS introduction, section header, and then content. Now let's use the two column layout for better understanding. Okay. Now let's give the CSS to paragraph using the inline CSS approach. Style, then color equals to red, and then save it. You can see the text in the paragraph is now updated to red color. Here let's give the style to div using the class approach and give this as section, and now we need to add a style element in the head section. Remember this, the style should be in the head section. Now let's give the comment, and if you are in VS Code then press Ctrl/ or Command/ if you are in Mac. You will get this CSS for section, and here dot section, and then inside it border 1 pixel solid hash AAA, and then save it. You can see there is a border, and let's give some padding 1 rem. Okay, we will see all these CSS rules later in the lectures. Just going through with the demo right now. Here dot section means there is a class section in the element. Okay, now if we go with the different div and use the same section, here section 2 header, and here let's say section 1 header, and here let's give blue. Okay, then save it. You will get two different section, and the CSS is applied to both the div. You don't need to add separately. That's one of the benefit of internal CSS to inline CSS. Here let's give margin bottom to 1 rem for better visibility. Now for the demo of the external CSS, let's create a file 01_style.css. okay, so it should be .css. Here let's give the comment and external CSS for 01_intro.html. now let's give the CSS to body element with background color as light blue. Okay, and then save it. Here after saving it, you don't get any changes because we haven't added this CSS file to our web page. Remember, we need to add the external CSS file to use those CSS. Okay, let's add the CSS, add external CSS. Here just type link and then choose this third option, link : CSS, and then press. The Emmet will generate the full link. Okay, and here the file name 01_style.css, and then save it. Then you can see you got the light blue background for the whole body. So this way you can use the inline CSS or the internal CSS or the external CSS in your web page. We will see more about CSS in the later lectures.